Hey, good Friday morning, neighbors. I hope your coffee's tasty and you're going to have a nice weekend. Look like it's going to be beautiful here in Portland. So enjoy the weekend. Get out and do something. I think I got bicycle rides planned. So, Fukushima reactor pressure vessels. TEPCO was running 3 of 6 reactors at the Daiichi site. 2 newer reactors higher up on the hill survived with cooling pool problems, right? So they couldn't keep cooling water on 2 facilities worth of spent fuel in those upper reactors. Burnt spent fuel, contaminated spent fuel with seawater, has emissions, and they're continuous. Most of it gets into the water, hence a lot of bad water is being stored and trying to figure out what to do with, and some of it, a lot of it's being treated. It's just beyond the feasibility of treatment. The science was not ready. So the other 4 reactors, one of them was in fuel change and repair mode. So not exactly sure what all they were doing other than changing fuel out and doing some major work on that reactor. That left 3 reactors running. So those 3 running reactors were put into emergency shutdown mode because of the seismic warnings that were received. So shutdown mode really takes 3 days to weeks because of the equalization cooling that happens. Remember, that reactor is running at thousands of pounds of pressure, and temperatures double, triple the boiling point of water. So very critical, very hard to balance systems when they're running correctly, when you have the full controls of the systems. So they were in shutdown mode. They were being brought down to cool. Usually you try to do that incrementally and not hard, but I would bet they did it hard because that would be the rule in a seismic event. So, and the facility has seismic monitors as good as any other place on the planet. It's just their secret. You can't see them. So you'll hear about them. You might be able to get to it, but I doubt it. So anyway, 3 reactors basically in a shutdown mode, which means they're somewhere between running and not. They're not fully cooled down. It was only hours later that the tidal wave hit. So they were in a better state than if they were fully running, but once the storm hit and the coolant shut down, they were turned back on because they couldn't be cooled, and they had to be cooled, including 4 fuel pools. So you've got 3 running reactors and 4 fuel pools with decades worth of old fuel in them, lost cooling. So now we've got the release estimates from 6 facilities worth of spent fuel, and I haven't gotten to the reactors yet. So now I've turned my science on pretty heavy, I would hope, to start looking at that, because besides the reaction response, I've got to build hospitals for this. So I've got to have some kind of gross numbers to know the hospitals I'm going to need, because this is how soft it is. These are stochastic. These are probabilities, population probabilities. So if this reactor does have this event, 0.05% of millions of people are going to be affected. And now we can debate if it's 0.05% or if it's 0.1% or if it's 10%. But the fact is, it's a percent, and we've proven it. We know it. We know it in our sciences. We know it in our studies. We know it from our peers. So 6 spent fuel pools, 3 running reactors in deep trouble. The facility's shut down, people are sent away. You're very short-handed because anybody there's death potential is increased exponentially. You are in 2000 psi water temperatures. The mechanical process there alone is an explosion waiting to happen, and inside that explosion are nuclear materials. So pressure vessels blow up because of imbalances. The releases begin to build up. The hydrogen that blew the buildings up is released from inside of those reactors. It's not an external thing. So now you know from the hydrogen explosion you had major containment breaches. That containment vessel is the separation between nuclear materials and Mother Nature. So all 3 of those vessels, secondary containment was breached and blown apart, right? That's the buildings. That's the mechanical, physical buildings. You heard about the toroids down below, which is part of the emergency cooling structure being destroyed. So that those destroyed toroids deep under the structure, filled with nuclear debris, have water running through them. So there is the problem with the water flowing through and around the plant, and with the ice wall not quite working for quite a while. So 3 reactors, 3 secondary and primary containment systems for some of the largest reactors around failed and released tons of materials, besides the tons of materials that are coming off of 6 spent fuel pools, and did come off for days and weeks and months, and is still coming off. So still haven't gotten to the effects of 3 reactors breaching containment. Okay, this is LOCA event, loss of coolant. It is when containment is breached, the worst class of disaster should be declared instantly. But there was no level to declare it to. There was no Superman here. So there were super people that tried to do their best. And what we know, because we've been doing this for decades, we studied the tar out of nuclear explosions. We studied the past, the fallout materials, the effects of those materials, on other materials, on life around it. We know that being near nuclear materials kills. Period. There is a statistical chance. Or there's a chance that if you're there and don't know, you might feel it, and there's nothing you can do if you do feel it. It's almost too late. You know, when you feel the microwave, the high energy cooking the inside of your body, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So, 3 commercial nuclear reactor cores breached to atmosphere. One of the first things that happens are release estimates are run, and it could take half a day to get the materials and information together, to plug into the computers, to be able to run those simulations and find out what went where. This is professional science. This is how we learn and improve everything we do. So, those reactors blew up. There are photos of the lids from those reactors not being in the right place. So I know 1 and 3 had those photos. I don't remember 2. I think 4 was the one in, I don't remember which one. 2 or 4 was in shutdown. So I was going to go back and review and study all of this. And then I realized what I'm going to do is go into more than you need to know that I can't answer anyway. that you can't answer. So someone should be able to speak to who is following all of the science that is required to understand what this means to us, because the next time it happens, which is statistically within the next 2 to 4 years, real time we don't know, we should understand the effects and how to respond to it a heck of a lot better than we do. Okay, if only your county is going to respond to an emergency, we're in trouble. That was the law Oregon tried to introduce to bring a nuclear power plant into the state of Oregon. They wanted a county by itself to be able to make a decision about a nuclear reactor facility, a nuclear weapon in their county, without the permission of without the consideration of surrounding counties, without the funding those counties would need in order to recover from that one bad day that happens, period. So, hey, I'm at 11 minutes now, which is way too long. This is the reason I didn't go back and do a lot of more research. You go find what I'm speaking to. The 3 reactor lids, the 3 reactor vessels, their status. If they were breached, it should be and still be the most organized studies on the planet, including the medical profession, learning what we're doing to ourselves. Because we can't undo nuclear like we can undo a deep ocean oil spill. Oh my God. Oh, your God. Sorry. I'll stop that. Thank you. Peace, love, out. Hasta la vista.